Overall, if you're running a psychology experiment, you want to have three things. First, you want to have random assignment so that the two groups are likely to be roughly similar to each other, and all differences are due to chance, and the two groups can be fairly compared. You're going to want no uncontrolled variables during the experiment. In other words, you're going to want to treat the two groups equally in every way, except for the conditions that you're testing, which might be a cold room and a hot room, for example. And at the end of the experiment, you're going to want a statistically significant result. Um, because if you get that statistically significant result, you can confidently say that the results aren't due to chance factors and that your hypothesis is supported. So, um, if you have these three things, you can confidently reach a cause and effect conclusion or inference at the end of the experiment, but not with 100% certainty. And why is that the case? Well, the possibility that the results are due to chance factors can never be completely eliminated. Even if a result is statistically significant, it's still possible that the results are due to some unknown chance factor, like one group getting a few more tired people. When you get a statistically significant result, you're just highly confident that the results aren't due to chance factors. You're not 100% sure. So if you're doing a psychology experiment, you can never be 100% sure in your conclusion because there's still this possibility that the results might be due to chance factors after all. And I know this might sound like bad news, but if you get a statistically significant result, there's something that you can do or someone else can do later on to bring up the confidence even higher, not to 100%, but even higher. And that's called replication. Replication is when an experiment is redone and the same result appears a second time. So imagine someone does a temperature experiment with a hot group and a cold group, and the cold group does better than the hot group significantly on the recall test. And then someone else comes along and redoes the same experiment with two groups of people, and once again, the cold group significantly outperforms the hot group. That second result would be called a replication of the first experiment. And if a third researcher comes along and redoes the experiment, and once again, the cold group outperforms the hot group significantly, that would be another replication. So replication can be done by one researcher. A researcher can repeat an experiment over and over again, or replication can be done by different researchers. But the more times a result is replicated, the more confident we become that the hypothesis is actually true. So if 10 experiments all show that the cold group did better than the hot group, then at that point, we're going to be highly confident that the temperature has an effect on memory. If the cold group outperforms the hot group 10 times, we're going to be highly confident that that's the case. If the cold group outperforms the hot group 100 times, we're going to be even more confident that temperature has an effect on memory, assuming that those 100 studies were all done well. So this wraps up this first series of videos. Just let me know if you have any questions.